everyone. Welcome to CKWN News. I am Nancy Pearl, librarian and esteemed author. The book I am reviewing today is Too Loud a Solitude by the esteemed Czechoslovakian writer Bohumil Hrabal. Too Loud a Solitude was self-published underground in 1976 because of the censorship of media present in Czechoslovakia at the time by the communist government. It was officially published in 1989 after the fall of communism. Too Loud a Solitude was Hrabal's last and arguably most powerful work. Too Loud a Solitude gives us a portrait of communist Czechoslovakia through the eyes of Hanta, a waste paper compactor who lives in Prague. He has been compacting waste paper for the past 35 years, as he reminds us many times throughout the book, and rescues classic books from the waste paper as he works. At the time, the communist regime disposed of books that were no longer wanted, and so they were sent to waste paper compactors to be compacted into bales and then recycled. Hanta finds these books in his cellar where he works. Each day he takes several books home, and over the years he has amassed many tons of books in his small house. Of course, all of these books take up a lot of space, and at any time they could fall over and bury him. Throughout the book, he mainly reflects on the past experiences in his life and the ideas that he has read throughout his decades of being a waste paper compactor. He is also often visited by the characters and authors whose idea he reads, like Jesus and Lao Tzu. Other than his literary characters, though, Hanta has little company. In the past he had a few friends, but now his only friends are a few gypsy acquaintances he meets on the streets, who bring him waste paper, and some of the mice who live among his books. There is a simple plot that arises within the last half of the book. A new giant hydraulic press has been built on the other side of town, with a focus on efficiency and compacting waste paper as quickly as possible. It is run by the Socialist Labor Brigade, and the workers in that brigade dress cleanly and dump waste paper into the drum by a conveyor belt as quickly as is humanly possible. There, the workplace is extremely clean, and the workers even drink milk at work, which Hanta never does because he likes to get dirty when he works. Hanta's livelihood is threatened, as he likes to take his time to compact the waste paper and pick out any valuable books from the refuse. Eventually, though, Hanta's cellar is taken over by two Socialist Brigade workers, and he is forced out. Too Loud a Solitude is told from Hanta's first-person perspective, so you get to see everything through his eyes. He is slightly insane, and his love of books is kind of exaggerated, but this could have been a criticism of the communist government and censorship, but it transcends that and is a celebration of the universal importance and joy of books and reading. And as I said before, even though Hanta's absolute infatuation with books is an exaggeration of what most people, and even I, the author of a book called Book Lust, feel towards books, his love for books and his willingness to do anything for them is extremely admirable, especially in the face of the political and social situation in Czechoslovakia at the time. So, the author of Too Loud a Solitude, Bohumil Hrabal, was born on March 28, 1914 in Brno, which at the time was in Austria-Hungary. Right before World War II started, he entered Charles University in Prague. However, as the Nazis closed the universities, he began to work many odd jobs. This let him experience many different parts of society, which gave him a lot of anecdotes, which he refers to in his story. For example, Hrabal himself worked as a waste paper compactor at one point in his life, like Hanta. And Hrabal's writing is most well known for its surrealism, symbolism, idioms, and its long sentences and rambling narrative. For example, surrealism is present in Too Loud a Solitude because of Hanta's hallucinations, and visits with the characters from his books. The symbolism is present when he talks about the mice in his basement, and those represent the common people who are just trying to scrape a living and get by. He uses idioms on nearly every page to make his writing come alive, and the long sentences and rambling narrative provide a stream of conscience for Hanta just to go on and on about how much he loves books and his past experiences. But his characters are all really normal citizens who live a rather ordinary life, yet are eccentric and strange. For example, Hanta's insanity is rather eccentric, and it provides a unique perspective into ordinary everyday life. So Hrabal also established himself as a writer relatively late in his life, but he's generally regarded as one of the greatest Czechoslovakian writers of the 20th century. Two of his most famous works are Closely Watched Trains and I Serve the King of England. Closely Watched Trains is about a young apprentice signalman named Milos Hrabal in a Czech railroad station during the Nazi occupation in World War II. I Serve the King of England is also set in Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia and tells the story of Dite, an aspiring hotelier. Both of these were also made into critically acclaimed movies. I would recommend Too Loud a Solitude to anyone who loves books and anyone who wants to learn about Eastern Europe. Too Loud a Solitude gives a perspective on the other Europe under communist rule, and it is easy to see why Hrabal has received so much acclaim. I would also recommend Closely Watched Trains and I Serve the King of England. But what I hope for most is that not only will you read these books, but you will also read many, many other books for pleasure. Thank you. This was Nancy Pearl, guest book reviewer on CKWN News.